Okay, as many of you know from last year, which was the inaugural year of the Jack O'Connor Writers Award, we started this with in cooperation with the Jack O'Connor Center and the Wild Sheep Foundation to recognize and honor a writer who has what we feel an outstanding story about sheep hunting and sheep conservation. And as all of you know, Jack O'Connor was a huge influence on the sheep hunting community and really fueled the dreams of probably 3/4 of the people in this room when they grew up reading Jack O'Connor stories. So our mission is to keep that alive and keep people writing about sheep and sheep conservation. And that's the nucleus of this award from the center. In keeping it brief, I won't go into all of the details and history behind this award, other than to tell you that the Jack O'Connor Center is a wonderful, wonderful place. If you've never been there, at Hells Canyon State Park in Idaho, and if you're ever through that area on a vacation or hunting, I just strongly encourage you to go in and see that unique and magnificent part of sheep hunting history. I got involved with the center initially through my great friend and mentor, Buck Buckner, and I can't thank him enough for leading me down that path, which started with the center and led to Boone and Crockett and Wild Sheep Foundation. So we're very excited to present this year's award, and I'll let Shirley, who is our executive director of the center, come up and get ready to do that.
Thank you, Tony. Tony's very modest. He also was really inspirational in establishing the Jack O'Connor Hunting Heritage and Education Center. It was his inspiration, and I think it was kind of a germination of an idea around a campfire that this Writers Award actually came to be. So I have a lot of admiration and a lot of respect for our friend Tony. I'm honored to speak to you on behalf of our board of directors and share the pride of the Jack O'Connor Hunting Heritage and Education Center and this important partnership with the Wild Sheep Foundation. They've made it possible for us to establish the annual Jack O'Connor Writers Award for the best printed article about a wild sheep hunt. It's been said several times tonight about what an inspiration Jack O'Connor was to all of us. But he was well known as a pioneer in the area of wild sheep conservation. Even though he hunted the world, some of his famous and favorite writings were those of North American wild sheep hunts. When the Jack O'Connor Center was established and dedicated in Lewiston, Idaho in 2006, it was the goal of the O'Connor family and the members of our board of directors to share Jack and Eleanor's collection of mounts, firearms, and memorabilia with the public. But there was a more important mission, and that was, how do we preserve that legacy that he left through his journalism? Jack has been called the Dean of Outdoor Writers. He had his unique kind of conversational style of writing that made you feel like you were sitting with him in his living room and he was sharing with you his latest adventure. A common theme we hear at the museum is how visitors waited at the mailbox for the next issue of Outdoor Life magazine so they could read about Jack's latest hunt or adventure. My cousin said to me, when I was about 16 years old, he said, I had never left Lewiston, Idaho, but I had traveled the world with Jack O'Connor by reading his articles. So that was our challenge. How do we share those stories written by the master with the next generations? That sense of adventure and that strong commitment to an ethical hunt that Jack stood for. One of our board members, Wayne Vance Wall, who's an award-winning outdoor rider himself, says, and I quote, "Those of us who grew up reading Jack O'Connor are getting a little long in the tooth." Well, my heart was warmed when I spoke to this year's recipient of the award on the phone in his Montana home, and he said, "I have a toddler running around the house." I said, "Bingo, we've done it." Our mission of preserving our hunting and conservation heritage, as inspired by Jack O'Connor, has indeed reached the next generation. With this year's recipient, Mike McTee, for his article printed in Sports Afield magazine titled "The Rock Creek Ram." I'm very pleased to announce that Mike McTee is the winner of the 2023 Jack O'Connor Writers Award. Congratulations.
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much. It's a tremendous honor. I never thought that my name would ever be mentioned in the same breath as Jack O'Connor's name. And I have to thank Shirley and everybody at the Jack O'Connor Center, the Wild Sheep Foundation, of course, Diana Rupp at Sports Afield. So I came armed with a Jack O'Connor quote. Some of you have probably heard it before. I pulled it from his book, Game of the Southwest. So here it goes. "A sportsman may have hunted deer, turkeys, elk, and bear for years, and with the greatest of success. But until he has taken his sheep, until he has matched his brains, his endurance, and his skill with those inhabitants of the Rocky Peaks, he is still a sophomore. A big ram head on the wall of his den is the diploma of the graduated big game hunter." And for those of you who have held a sheep tag and carried it into the mountains, O'Connor's words probably remind you of that search, those knee-crushing climbs, maybe seeing a ram so beautiful you hesitate with your rifle or your bow because a muzzle blast or the whoosh of an arrow will last forever, stamping an end to that sheep hunt, and it's done. And for those who haven't had that tag, I truly hope you have the opportunity, a chance to pry open every nook and cranny of the hills, to walk up to your ram and graze your palms over its horns, to run your fingers along those corrugated striations, and to glimpse what motivated Jack O'Connor's words. Thanks.